Calvert Library, and welcome to another edition of It's Elementary. So today I want to talk about a kind of animal, a fascinating kind of animal that lives in the sea, and that kind of animal is a shark. Sharks sometimes can seem so scary, but they're also really fascinating when you learn all about them. So I want to read you this story. It's called Land Shark. Looks a little silly, doesn't it? Maybe not the most informative shark book, but it's going to be lots of fun. And then we're going to learn some about sharks at the end, okay? So let's read Land Shark by Beth Ferry and illustrated by Ben Mantle. And we want to thank the publisher, Chronicle Books, for allowing us to share this with you today. Land Shark. Bobby had a plan, a fishy plan, a wishful plan, a frightful, biteful, delightful plan. Step 1, convince parents. Step 2, get shark. Would you like a pet shark? I'm not so sure about that. Not a small freshwater shark, but a real, scooped out of the ocean, chock full of teeth shark. Like a whale shark, or a lemon shark, or a bull shark. It didn't matter. Bobby liked all of them. He baited a hook with clever signs. Pets make the very best, most coolest birthday presents ever. Ready, set, pet! That's what it says right there. And reeled his parents right in. He forgot just one tiny detail. On the morning of his birthday, Bobby's parents threw open the garage door. Surprise! They yelled. Look, you think he actually got his shark? Let's see. No enormous saltwater tank. No rows of sharp teeth. No awesome dorsal fin. No shark. Look, it was just that big surfboard back there, wasn't it? Happy birthday, they say. What is this? Bobby asked. A puppy, said his mom. The very best, most coolest present ever. Good one, Mom. Are we going to go to the aquarium? For what? His dad asked. For my shark, Bobby answered. Don't be silly, said his mom. You can't have a shark. Sharks aren't pets, his sister said. Did you really think you were getting a shark? His brother laughed. Bobby ran up to his room, not crying one salty tear. Shark lovers do not cry. Mom brought the puppy upstairs. Look at her, she crooned. She's sweet. Sharks aren't sweet. And adorable. Sharks are not adorable. And cuddly. Sharks do not cuddle. Just give her a chance, she says. Shark lovers cannot be converted into dog lovers. Ever. I don't know, he's awfully cute, isn't he? The next day, Bobby awoke to shouting and barking. Have you seen my shoe? His dad called. Have you seen my baseball? His brother yelled. Panda? His sister cried. Has anyone seen Panda? The puppy dropped Panda at Bobby's feet, tail wagging. Bobby surveyed the damage. It was destruction with a capital D. That does look like quite a mess, doesn't it? It was frightful. It was biteful. It was delightful. He could hear his mother coming. Good luck, he told the puppy. That's a lot of mess for that little puppy to make, isn't it? After 1 week, the puppy had chewed through 5 pairs of shoes, 6 stuffed animals, and the legs of 3 chairs. He barked at 10 p.m., 2 a.m., and really any other M he wanted. Shh, said Bobby's sister. Ark, said the puppy. Shh, said Bobby's brother. Ark, said the puppy. Shh, ark. I wish, said Bobby. Kind of sounded like shark, didn't it? Everyone was grumpy. I could imagine that. Everyone except Bobby. He was thrilled. A shark was looking better and better. Maybe his parents would get rid of that puppy and get him a shark. What do you think? I don't know. That night, the doorbell rang. Is this yours? Mrs. Greenlee asked, pointing to a pile of garbage. The garbage ran right over to Bobby, and he sniffed. Oh, That's not garbage, is it? Uh-oh, it's the puppy, isn't it? She must have smelled your spaghetti sauce. Did you know that sharks have an amazing sense of smell? Mrs. Greeley peered into the house. Do you have a shark in here? Not yet, said Bobby. Still working on that plan, isn't he? Bobby's mom handed him the puppy. Someone needs to give her a bath. Or give her away, Bobby mumbled. But as he carried the puppy upstairs, he whispered, Tiger sharks like garbage too. The puppy licked his face and then splashed in the tub. Bobby turned away. Shark lovers cannot be converted to dog lovers. No matter how well they swim. I don't know, maybe that dog is making some progress, huh? On Saturday morning, Bobby awoke to a scratching sound. He opened his door and the puppy charged in. She sniffed his rug, she sniffed his clothes, and barked at his posters. She scooted under the bed and grabbed Toothy. Ooh, I think that might be his special shark stuffy, huh? Don't, Bobby began, but it was too late. Stop, he yelled, lunging for Toothy. The puppy pulled, and Bobby tugged. The puppy growled, and Bobby yelled, Drop it now. The puppy dropped it, and then took a great big chomp right out of it. Bobby gasped. The puppy trotted over and dropped the head at Bobby's feet, and then wagged her tail. She's very proud of herself, isn't she? Bobby could not believe it. The bite mark was incredible, magnificent, enormous. Look at that big bite mark. Kate saw the torn and tattered Toothy. Uh-oh, she said to the puppy. You've done it now. And the puppy had done it. She had barked and chewed and bitten her way right into Bobby's heart. Bobby was a shark lover, and shark lovers, as it turns out, can be converted to dog lovers. In fact, they can love lots of amazing things. And with less than a year until his next birthday, Bobby had a plan. Uh-oh, he's got another plan. Let's see. A fantastic plan, a Jurassic plan, a frightful, biteful, delightful plan. What do you think his plan might be? Step 1, convince parents. Step 2, what does he want next? Dinosaur, huh? The end. All right, so that was not a really informative book about sharks, was it? But it was a very funny book about sharks. And I hope that you now will be inspired to learn more about sharks. Like, did you know that there are over 400 species of sharks and that they live all over the world, from the hottest areas all the way up to underneath the ice in the Arctic Ocean? And sharks come in all different sizes. The sharks that we usually think about are pretty big, right? Like a great white shark, something like that. But the smallest shark is actually not much bigger than your hand. And the biggest shark, the whale shark, that's why I was thinking of whales, the whale shark can be over 30 feet. They're huge sharks. They also tend to be the most gentle, which is very interesting too. So they also, we heard in our book that they have outstanding smell, and that's absolutely true. In fact, that I said if you put a shark in a big pool, they could smell 1 drop of blood. If you put 1 drop of blood in that pool, the shark would be able to smell it. They also have really, really good hearing as well. They can hear a fish thrashing around in the water up to 500 meters away. That's amazing. And we always think about teeth when we think of sharks, right? Have you ever gone down to the beach and looked for shark's teeth? I have a little collection of shark's teeth that I found, and that's because sharks lose thousands of teeth in their life. So our teeth, they fall out once, they get replaced, and then you're done, right? You don't get any more teeth after that. But sharks have rows and rows of teeth, so they can literally lose thousands of teeth in a lifetime. So most sharks live in salt water. So Bobby mentioned he didn't want any of those freshwater sharks. The freshwater sharks are the littler ones. There's only about 40 varieties that live in freshwater. In fact, they think that scientists are now discovering that sharks probably don't live in freshwater because most of them would sink if they lived in freshwater. So they tend to live in salt water instead. And that works just fine for sharks. But people can't drink salt water, right? You know what salt water is, don't you? Have you ever gone to the beach? and you're swimming in the water and you're having lots of fun, but you notice you get a real salty taste on your mouth, don't you? All of that water out there is literally water filled with salt. And if you tried to drink it, A, it would probably, well, it tastes terrible. You don't want to drink it. It could make you a little sick too, but also it will just make you thirstier and thirstier. Just unlike drinking regular water, which quenches your thirst, right? But sharks can live just fine in salt water. And the reason they can do that is because they have a special way to filter out that salt. So our bodies use our liver to filter out our salt, the little bit of salt that we eat with our food. But they have a special kind of gland that helps to filter out that salt water, but also a special chemical that's called urea that helps to filter out that salt as well. But for us, we would need a way, if we were in a situation where we only had salt water, we would need a way to make that salt water into fresh water so that we could drink it. And luckily, there is a way to do that. That process is called desalinization. Very big word, which just means to desalt something, right? It's desalinization. And there's an experiment that we can do to desalinize some water. So I thought we would do that today. So we're going to move over to the table here and gather our supplies so we can do our really cool desalinization experiment. Okay? So come on over and let's get started. Okay, welcome back. You ready for our desalinization experiment? Let me tell you what you're going to need. First, you're going to need a big glass bowl. Doesn't matter what size it is, really, as long as it's pretty big and fairly deep. You want to be able to put some water in there. And then you need a small bowl. Now, the small bowl, the important part is that it would go in here and it has to be lower. When it sits inside the big bowl, it has to be lower than the rim of the big bowl. Okay, that's the important part. So, 2 bowls. You're going to need some plastic wrap. And then you're going to need a rock or something heavy. I'll show you why in just a second. And then we're going to need some salt water, right? So unless you want to go down and get some salt water at the ocean, we're going to make some salt water. So here's what I have to make some salt water. I'm going to get this out of the way for just a minute. So I have some water. This is about 2 cups of water, and it's warm. It's a lot easier to mix the salt up into the water. If it's warm, it'll help it dissolve a little bit better. So warm up that water. You can even boil it if you want to, but you don't have to. It'll mix up okay. And I'm going to take my salt. I'm going to take about 2 teaspoons of salt. That's a teaspoon right there. So 1 and 2. So about a teaspoon of salt to each cup of water that you put in there, because that's all salt water is. It's just water with salt in it. So we're going to mix that up. And when we do, you're going to be able to see it dissolve. And you want it to dissolve completely. And like I said, that's just going to take some stirring. And heat will help. If you're impatient, you can just put it on to boil for a second and I'll take care of it. But you'll be able to see it doesn't look like regular water anymore. It does look like salt water. It's a little bit foggy. All right. So that looks lovely. So we've got our salt water. So now we're going to take our big bowl again, right there, and we're going to put our salt water in our bowl. Nice and careful. There we go, like that. Okay, then we're going to take our little bowl and carefully put it inside the big bowl. The important part is that you don't want any of that salt water to splash inside that little bowl, because that's going to ruin your fresh water, right? So we're just going to set that right in the middle, like that. And then we're going to take our plastic wrap, and we're going to put plastic wrap across the whole thing. You want to seal the sides of the bowl. So that means that you don't want any air getting in to the sides of the bowl. So my bowl is big enough, it's going to take a couple of pieces of plastic wrap to do this. So we'll take one and put it on this side. Pretty tight. But most importantly, it doesn't have to be really, really tight, but it does have to be really sealed. So make sure you really seal along the sides there. And then one more to do the other side of my bowl. You may not need to if you don't have such a wide bowl like I do. This is the only kind of bowl I could find that was big enough. All right, so one more on that side. Like, plastic wrap can sometimes be difficult. Okay, there we go. One more on that side. There we go. And so we've sealed it all around the whole way. And you can kind of tell when it's sealed across the top of the bowl. So now we have our big bowl, our salt water, our little bowl. And we want to be able to push this in a little bit, and to keep that from happening, that's when that rock comes in. So you want something that's going to be heavy enough to hold down that plastic wrap over that small bowl, but not so heavy as that it will break the plastic wrap. So be careful about that. But you want to be able to hold it down. You can see when I do that, that the plastic wrap is now pushing down into my little bowl, right? So we do all of this, and then we're going to put this just to sit. And if you find a spot in the sun, that works even better. So what will happen? Why is this going to make fresh water? And the fresh water is going to end up right in that middle, that bowl, that little bowl on the inside. So why is this going to work? Well, it's a process that is going to cause condensation. It's going to cause the water in the bowl to evaporate. That's a big word. And that water is going to evaporate up, right? And it's going to end up on the inside of our plastic wrap as condensation. All of these are all great words you're going to learn about when you learn about the water cycle in school. Or maybe you already have. So all water will evaporate. The condensation will end up on the inside underneath our plastic wrap. And because we've got all of that plastic wrap pointing down into that bowl with our rock, that's where it's all going to end up. And so if we are patient enough, now we have to be patient, this is not a quick experiment. When you put it out in the sun, you'll see the condensation start to happen, but nothing's going to end up in that bowl for a while. This is probably about a 5-hour experiment. So this is one that you're going to want to do in the morning on a nice sunny day. Set it in a sunny spot and then come back much later in the day and see how you did. But by the end of the day, you should have fresh water that you can drink right in that little bowl in the middle. So let's give it a try. I'm going to go set this out in the sun, and we'll come back in a little while and see how we're doing. Okay, let's see how we're doing. So this has been sitting out for just about an hour or so in the sunshine, and you can see, do you see all of that water on the inside there? All of that water is condensation, right? It's water that has come up from the salt water that we put in the big bowl and is now on the inside of that plastic wrap. And all of that water is what's going to go down into our middle bowl, and all of that will be fresh water. Right? So we're going to have to be a little bit patient. We're going to put it out in the sun. Remember, I said this was going to take a little while, probably about 5 hours or so. So you're going to have to be patient with this experiment. But we're on the right track because we can see all of that condensation. So let's come back in a little while and see how we're doing. All right, moment of truth. Let's see how we did. So we're going to take the rock off. We're going to take our plastic wrap off. And let's see what we've got. Still got lots of water in the bottom. That's our salt water, right? Let's see. Definitely salt water. But let's take our water in our bowl here and see how we did. Delicious. Regular fresh water. So what a great way if you're ever stranded on a desert island that you can make fresh water out of salt water, as long as you have 2 bowls and some plastic wrap. Well, I hope you had fun today for It's Elementary, and I hope that this has inspired you to learn more about science experiments that you can do at home, and also to learn more about sharks. We have lots of books at the library on both of those things that you can check out and take home and learn lots and lots and lots. Stay tuned to Calvert Library social media feeds for more It's Elementaries and lots of programs for the whole family. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.